Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jonah Misiak. Today is the second episode in the Journey to Self-Love series that I've created. Last week, I shared about my own personal journey, some of the struggles and challenges I faced, and how I slowly moved out of that area and how like a big life-changing moment really did kind of skyrocket my self-love journey even before self-love was really a word or a thing, or at least not in my world. Today, we are going to talk about the science and philosophy of self-love. Like I mentioned last week, it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, the science thing, but I've done some research and I want us to kind of go deeper because sometimes we think, okay, well, this is great, but sometimes we want some more meat with our potatoes, like some people need some science, and that's totally cool. So, and like I mentioned last week, I want to get out of my comfort zone a little, and we're going to do something a little fun and different this episode. So this is where I normally dive deep into self-love, personal growth, and everything in between. And then over the next 4 weeks, this being number 2, I am taking us on a really deep dive conversation around self-love. And this one, we're going to, talk about more about science and things. So self-love isn't just a trendy buzzword. It's a powerful force that shapes our mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. But what does science say about it? How does self-love actually rewrite our brains? And why is it key to a happier, more fulfilling life? Stick with me, because by the end of this episode, you'll not only understand the psychology behind self-love, but you'll also walk away with practical tools to use in your daily life. So let's get started. We're going to start with the brain because, believe it or not, self-love is a neurological process. When we practice self-compassion, our brain actually rewrites itself. That's pretty cool. Studies show that self-love activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for emotional regulation, decision-making, and self-awareness. On the flip side, when we engage in self-criticism, we activate the we activate the amygdala. Oh my goodness, hold on. We activate the amygdala, the brain's fear center. This triggers the release of cholesterol, the stress hormone, which can lead to anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues over time. But here's the good news. Neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to change and adapt, means that we can literally train our minds to be more self-loving. Oh yes, there's hope for us, isn't there? Right. Okay, so self-love. Awesome. So how do we do that? Where do we start? One powerful way is through self-affirmations. Research shows that repeating positive affirmations can strengthen neural pathways associated with self-worth and confidence. So, for example, try this. Every morning, look in the mirror and say, I am enough. I am worthy. I am loved. That might feel awkward at first, but over time, your brain will start to believe it. And I know from personal experience that this does help. I have affirmations to this day that are a little longer than I am enough, I am worthy, I am loved on my thing. But the thing is, it's about taking small steps. So if you've never done affirmations before, those 3 are really good to start with. I'm going to repeat them again just for one more time. So hopefully you have a pen or pencil ready, paper, if you're good. I am enough. I am worthy. I am loved. And really, you can put anything there. So with an affirmation, I'm not going to get too much into it at this moment, but you take a negative, it's like, I'm not good enough, or I suck at this. And you have to find something that feels at least close to the truth. You can't say you want more money, but you're like, I'm going to be a billionaire. And if it doesn't feel real, it's going to be hard to trick your brain. So start small. And that's why even just saying I'm enough, and it's just slowly not tricking, sorry. It's slowly changing your thought process. So we have a million, quadrillion, we got lots of thoughts going on, not a trillion. Anyways, there is a number, and I don't know it offhand right now, of thoughts that go through our head. And if we're being critical on ourselves, then, that's like having a little bully in our brain constantly, and that's not fun. So anyways, so start small, and over time, you will be able to do more and more, but just flipping that, I'm not good enough, or I suck at this, and things like that. Like just taking those 3, they seem very simple words, but saying them to yourself in the mirror every morning and every night is a very, very powerful thing. Now let's talk about self-talk. So I just briefly talked a little bit about it as I got carried away from what I was going to say. Because the way we speak to ourselves matters more than we realize. Think about it. If a friend came to you feeling down, would you say, "You're such a failure. You never get it right"? Of course not. We would never say that to a friend. They would not be our friend anymore. So why do we talk to ourselves that way? We are really our worst critics. We really, really are. Until we learn to befriend our thoughts and our inner dialogue. So psychologists call this negative self-talk, and it's one of the biggest barriers to self-love. But the good news is we can shift from self-criticism to self-kindness with a simple technique called cognitive reframing. Here's how it works. First off, you catch the negative thought. Example, I'm so bad at this. Second of all, you challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Would I say this to a friend? And third, replace it with a kinder thought. Example, I'm still learning, and that's okay. Actually, one of the best things, my kids came home that I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think of this, is one of my son's teachers was, you say after yet. So I don't know this yet. And it takes this it can be like a negative thing. I don't know this. And then you say yet. And it really just puts a positive spin on something because you don't know it yet. So, it's that same thing, right? It's like, I'm still learning, and that's okay. We're constantly learning in life. I'm still learning. I'm using words in this podcast that I'm having a hard time saying. I'll be honest. But, it's science. So there's going to be words in here that I'm not very familiar with. And that's okay. I'm still learning, and that's okay. So this small shift can make a huge difference in how you see yourself. So I'm going to just go through this really, really quick one more time. First, catch the negative thought. So even just becoming aware of what thought you're even having, because we have a lot of thoughts, like I said, and to even know what thoughts you're having is to be aware of that thought first. And then ask yourself, so challenge it. Is this really true? Would I say this to a friend? Because you got to start looking at yourself like your best friend, because you are. You're just one person. Anyways, but you're a best friend to yourself, or you can be. And then third, replace it with a kinder thought. So remember, I'm so bad at this. Example, to change it, I'm still learning, and that's okay. And remember, these little shifts, like just even catching a negative thought. And if you don't catch it all the time, it's okay, because part of this is just learning. You're not going to get it instantly all the time, and that's okay. It's taking small steps, and over time it becomes a new habit. And it's just even focusing on the first step, noticing the thoughts first, right? If you don't know what's going on in your mind, you can't change them. You can't replace it with a kinder thought. So just take it one step at a time. So now let's talk more about self-love and emotional resistance. Here's something fascinating. People who practice self-love are more emotional resilient. I can get behind that statement because I feel that that's very true for me. I do get very emotional at times, especially around my period. It happens, and I work at my very best to do things to help me get there and be mentally prepared, but it doesn't always happen. But I do find that if things are going on, I feel like I have more emotional resilience. Anyways, here's why. Because self-love creates a buffer against stress, rejection, and failure. When we treat ourselves with kindness, we're less likely to spiral into self-doubt when things go wrong. Think about it. When you love yourself, you don't take failure personally. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, you say, that didn't work out well, but I'll try again. Now, I do have moments where I'm not at the best and I might fail at something and I might briefly have a moment of feeling like a failure. And then I have all these tools where I'm like, right. And you just fall into those. So as much as you can do all these things, it is really important to know that some days you'll have, better days than others. But this is like where we're all focused to get to, right? Where you literally have your knee-jerk reaction. Instead of saying, I suck, I'm a failure, it's, oh, that didn't work, but I'll try it again. Or maybe I'll learn, what did I learn from this? A lot of the time what happens with me is if something didn't go right, I might have a moment, I might have a little freak out moment, be like, and then I'll be like, whoa, okay, that's over, felt that. And then realize that I need to think about it differently and be like, what can I learn from this? Because here's the thing, just because we do practice self-love, it doesn't necessarily mean we won't feel things. We won't get frustrated in things. But we do tend to bounce back faster when we're in that place of love, right? Because like I said about talking to my children about love and talking to ourselves like we are children and things, that we are our best friends. So it's about, like you can feel it and then be like, okay, what can I learn from this instead? So I hope that makes sense. Where just because, it's something that I learned on my own personal self-love journey, where you think like, now that I'm a coach, right? I have to be this perfect thing. Like I can't get emotional. I can't feel things, or, I have to be perfect all the time. I even hate saying that word perfect because there's no such thing. But the thing is, we still feel things. We just react differently when things happen in our lives, or we'll feel them for a while and then be like, right, pity party over. Like maybe I would have had a pity party for like a week, a month, whatever. And now if something happens, it might be a day or half an hour or whatever. I need to just feel it and let it go. Okay. So I want to get that in there because it is so important. I'm talking about these techniques. And at the same time, as I'm saying them out loud, I realize that yes, these are great techniques, but I want you to also know the flip side, that it's not about this perfect practice, but it's about knowing that you'll have more emotional resilience as you go, but it will all look different, right? All our paths look a little different than each other's, and that's okay. So one of the best ways to build emotional resilience is through self-compassion. So here's an exercise you can do. The next time you make a mistake, place your hand over your heart and say, I am human and I am doing my best. I am human and I am doing my best. The more you do that, the more it will be your first response instead of saying, I'm a failure, right? This simple act of kindness, self-kindness, can lower stress levels and help you bounce back faster. Like I said, you're changing your knee-jerk reaction from I'm a failure to I am human and I am doing my best. So now let's talk about self-love affecting relationships, career, and happiness. So in the first episode, I shared about how my lack of self-love was repelling men and at the same time controlling all the aspects of me thinking about boys and having this like needing this relationship kind of thing. So let's get into this because I think it's so important to talk about how when we love ourselves, our relationships can thrive better. So let's talk about how self-love impacts every area of our lives, our relationships, careers, and overall happiness. So first off, relationships. When we love ourselves, we set healthy boundaries and attract people who respect us. We stop seeking validation from others because we already know we are worthy. And that is so true. Like I said, just look at my the first episode of the series where I talk about how I was looking outside for validation of my worth and my love. And it was really running my life in negative ways. So when you start to love yourself more, you can set healthy boundaries and you can start knowing your own inner worth without having to seek it outside of yourself. Now let's talk about career. Self-love boosts confidence, making us more likely to take risks, speak up for ourselves, speak up for our ideas, and then go after what we truly want. And studies show that people with high self-esteem are more likely to succeed in their careers. And I can really see that in my own being. Like, remember, if you listened to the first episode in the series last week, where I shared about how I read my journal in college and how I didn't think I was going to make it through. And I had really, really low self-esteem. And it's like, whoa, like I was taking that everywhere I was going with me. And it wasn't until later in life where I can finally have more confidence and really go after the jobs I really, really wanted and want. So self-love affects everything in our lives, including happiness. So self-love is directly linked to higher levels of a happier, more satisfied life. When we accept ourselves fully, we experience more joy, more peace, and fulfillment. Think about it just for a second. If you weren't focused on, what other people are doing or trying to keep up with the Joneses or, worried what other people think of you or looking outside yourself for this worth, like worthiness and love and everything else that is already within you, you'd have so much more energy living life the way you want to, right? And I say this with so much love because I've been there and I still fall into days where I have little mini pity parties, but I have less in them than I did way back. It's a practice. Remember, it's a journey. But when we accept ourselves fully, we can experience more joy, peace, and fulfillment because we're not looking outside ourselves to be happy or any of that. It's all within. And when you start loving yourself more, then you see more things in your life to love. So if you've ever wondered whether self-love is selfish or unimportant, think again. It is the foundation for a thriving, happy life. And I can speak on that on so much, like literally, if it wasn't for me first taking a year off to love myself and get to know myself, I would never have possibly even run into my husband, let alone let him into my bubble, into my world, or worse, I would have. And then I would have pushed him away with my neediness because I'm like, I need something from you instead of this is me, right? Two different feelings. One very needy, one very not, very empowered. And I still had a long way to go from that moment, but I was such at a better place because I started loving myself. And then over the years, what I've learned through becoming a master empowerment coach and a mom, and just the things I learned coaching and growing and doing things. Oh my goodness. Like would not be parenting the way I'm parenting now. And we would never have moved to the coast in BC. I would have been worried too much what my family thought. And I did still have those feelings. But man, I look at my life now and it's like, wow, what would have happened if I didn't take that year off to get to know myself better? It's these small little steps, these small moments in life that create these big wow moments in our life. So, take that for a second. That was powerful. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the love of my being. Anyways, so, all right, as we wrap this episode up today, we've explored the science and psychology of self-love, from how it rewires our brains to how it shapes our relationships and success. Now, I want to hear from you. I don't do this very often, but I'm calling out, I'm doing a shout out because I really think it's important to have support on your self-love journey. So I'd love to hear, what is one self-love practice you're going to start today? And, leave a comment on Instagram or jump over to my free community room. It's called the BU Community Room on my website. And it's where you can join for free and just have a conversation. So you can jump over to the BU Community Room and have a conversation there with me. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're ready to take this journey even deeper, don't forget to sign up for Reclaim Your Joy, a free masterclass on self-love for women ready to thrive. And the link is in the description of this podcast episode. In this class, I'll teach you practices that will really help deepen your self-love practice with yourself, to go deeper. If you love this episode, please subscribe, share it with others who need to hear this message today. Until next time, remember, you are enough, you are worthy, you are loved. Thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful for you, and I am rooting for you. And I'm just so incredible. I'm so happy for you on this beautiful self-love journey of yours. Take care and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.